What's going on, Jerome's? Unfortunately, it is mock draft season for the Minnesota Vikings. It is what it is, but Kwesi sucks at drafting. Fully understand that. But it's Friday, and before we get into there's no way that this player would be available here, there, doesn't matter. This is for fun. This is for schnitz and giggles on a fun Friday, so just live with it. Of course, Vikings draft needs are going to be greatly determined by what happens at free agency coming up in the next couple of weeks, so things can change, right? The Vikings can hammer down on offensive line and cornerback, which is what I want them to do and what we'll say that they do in this scenario, in the simulation. So first off, we fired up the mock draft simulator over at Pro Football Focus. Now, this is what they spat out. So there's going to need to be some tweaks in the algorithm, right? So first off, Ashton Jeanty goes to the Falcons at 15. I actually don't think he gets by the Bears at 10 at this point, but we'll see. Ward goes 1-1 to the Titans. I can see that. I think that once we get into this process, and obviously there's a long ways to go. Senior Bowl is shaping up, as well as Combine, Pro Days, all that stuff. There's a lot. There's a lot to get through. But I think Ward will be the number one overall pick. I think he'll go into Tennessee, and I think he'll probably fail because of the coaching. Travis Hunter goes to the Browns. I honestly could see them going quarterback in this spot, but I could also see Shedeur be like, no. I'm not going to Cleveland. No. Shedeur becomes Broadway Shedeur with the Giants. Do they hire Dion next offseason? Could see that. Tet goes to the Patriots. I like that. Tet going to hook it up with Drake May. That's going to be fun. That's going to be fun, man. Will Johnson. Hey, Liam Cohen gets his guy, Will Johnson. Shutdown corner from Michigan. Abdul Qadir going to the Raiders. I like that one a lot. I really like that one a lot. And if they can somehow, some way keep Max Crosby, that's going to be a hell of a duo. Also, Wilkins in there too. Let's go. Let's go, baby. Mason Graham going to the JETS Jets. I think that one, well, it's ironic because like a lot of Mason Graham's draft comps are Quinshon Williams. And now they have two, which I guess ain't bad. Starks going to the Panthers. Mike Green. Wow. Mike Green going ahead of James Pierce. I love it. But Mike Green, the pride of Marshall, like he's super underrated, and I think he's going to make a big splash early on in the league. 10, the Bears going James Pierce Jr. Now Pierce, I actually think is maybe the most talented pure edge rusher in this class, but the Bears getting him, matching him up with Sweat. I don't know, man. I don't know. And blah, 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 rest of this draft. Ashton Jeanty going 15. Then you got Amari Hampton going 22 to the Chargers. I think that one's a great fit, especially the way that they want. So basically it comes down to, I think our guy Jordan Reed says this, Omarion is going to be more of a power gap man, a running back, and Caleb Johnson is going to be your classic outside zone running back. I think that's where we're at. Also, I saw a great comp. I forget who put out there. Caleb Johnson, the running back out of Iowa, is David Johnson with less refined receiving skills, which I think is pretty fair, given the size, given the prowess in outside zone. Benjamin Morrison, who Mal Kiper Jr. had mocked to the Vikings in his mock draft 1.0, goes 17 to the Bengals. I like that pick a lot. Yeah, I think that they definitely need help on the outside, around the outside. Kenneth Grant, the nose tackle, goes to the Packers. Which is unfortunate. Would have loved to grab him, but the Vikings at 24 take Tyleik Williams. Williams is pretty damn solid. All right, so here's what happened. So we went Buckeye up at the top. Tyleik Williams, he's a man. And we're getting back to we have the meats along the defensive line. Again, our plan, our pie-in-the-sky plan, hammer offensive line and cornerback in free agency. Get guys that that are good, our scheme fits. A little bit older, but pros at those two spots because those guys generally don't come off the field. And then hit it on defensive interior as well as running back in the draft and also go a little bit of BPA. So Tyleik Williams, I like a lot. Quinshon Judkins, 3 touchdowns in the national title game, 120 yards from scrimmage. I like what he did this year, but he can be a true bell cow back, just like he was at Ole Miss. Jared Wilson, the center from Georgia, Darius Taylor in the 5th, who I think is going to go a lot higher than people think. I think that he'll once testing is done, he's a physical freak, and I think that he will be a day 2 selection. And then B.J. Adams in the 7th, which again after the combine, I think that he'll be towards the top of day 3, but. Tyleik Williams at 24. I like him a lot. So he's 21 years young, 6'3", 330, 11.5 career sacks, 28 tackles for loss, 10 batted passes, 88.6 run defense grade in 2024. So he's already got that going. Plus, even given his size, it was interesting. Ohio State tended to deploy him as a 3-tech. So he was gumming up that B gap. So even though he does have that skill set to be a classic 0-tech, 1-tech nose tackle, he does have versatility, and he does have power to push the pocket. So he's not refined as a pass rusher yet, but I think that his best years will be ahead of him. You'll get him with a competent defensive line coach, just like the Vikings have here. I think that, honestly, Williams could become a pretty prodigious pass rusher in the next couple of years. Not saying that he'll be Dexter Lawrence Clemson, Dexter Lawrence recently with the Giants, but I can see him go from here to here. Number one is just that power to push the pocket and compress space. That's going to be huge. The Vikings, a third-round comp pick, number 97 overall, Quinshon Judkins. I love him, man. He's even before the national title game where he really showed on. Also, how come no one wears knee pads anymore? Ever. But he's 21 years young, 6'2", 219, 2-year starter, Ole Miss. Ran for 1,500 yards as a true freshman. He was just awesome, man. This year, he followed the NIL money to Ohio State, split time with Henderson, ran for 1,060 yards, 5.5 yards per carry, 14 touchdowns. Great balance. He's tough to tackle. He's got quick burst as well. Solid receiver, developing as a pass blocker, and I think that he does have the skill set and the alpha mentality to be a true 3-down bell cow running back in the National Football League. I think that he'd be a great addition to the Vikings. Center-wise, Jared Wilson. So Jared Wilson is kind of what Garrett Bradbury was supposed to be, right? 6'3", 310, a little bit undersized, absolute physical freak, short area. I think that he's a guy that could definitely get pushed up after testing is done, because he's going to be that guy. Now, only a 1-year starter at Georgia, but high football IQ, great technique, solid anchor as well, good movement skills, can block man or gap. So, gap or zones, and I think that he's going to be a guy that would be great value there in the 5th round. Also, one of my very early crushes. I want Darius Alexander no matter what, man. So 6'4", 310. He's going to go higher than 5th round, so we got here. But 9 career sacks, 23 tackles for loss, 90.3 PFF run defense grade this season, 83 combined pressures over the last 2 years. So I know that sacks are sacks, but it really is about getting at bats. And pressures are at bats. And the more you swing the bat, the better chance you have to hit the ball, right? So you look at Alexander, 9 career sacks. Oh, he doesn't close. But, yeah, he is wreaking havoc in the backfield, and sometimes that creates for some of his teammates. And also, remember Darius Alexander, Quinyon Mitchell on the same defense last year. I love it. It's fantastic, man. But could play D-tackle, could play DN, 3-tech, 5-tech, all up in there. Great smooth feet, great hands, as well as short area quickness. I think that he's going to become a lot of people's draft crushes very soon. Lastly, this one makes me feel rough because B.J. Adams, he's 6'3", $190, tough, physical, press man, corner. He's a lot like Kyrie coming out of Oregon. Yeah. He's going to go higher than 7th round, but this is what we're currently presented with. But 4-year starter for the Knights and huge wingspan, physical specimen. He's got press man written all over. He does need to develop as a zone corner, a little bit grabby as well, but he's the type of guy that if he hits, he hits. And he's going to be pretty damn legit. And if Flores wants to go from more zone to more man, a guy like Adams in the pipeline, you're going to need him. Yeah, but, yeah, just turn on some of his tape. He really looks a lot like Kyrie. Just that tough, physical, long, lanky press man coverage on the outside. Yeah. But overall, like we said, everything's pending on free agency, and guys are going to rise and fall based on testing and all that stuff. But honestly, if the Vikings came away with this, I ain't even mad. And I ain't even just trying to bandwagon on all the Ohio State stuff, but Williams, stud. Judkins, stud. Jared Wilson eventually could be a stud. Darius Alexander is one of my favorite players in the draft so far. B.J. Adams could be that dude. So, wouldn't mind it at all. Kwesi out there cooking. It's good times, man. But that's it. That's at Vikings Mock Draft. You guys are the best you know what to do. Skull production value.